a Netflix original film.
The Wi-Fi isn't working.
In the event of a global communications breakdown, do the following. Stay inside.
What just happened here is happening everywhere.
Avoid strangers.
We've all been deserted.
I don't trust them.
And most importantly, do not panic. Julia Roberts.
What happens next?
Mahershala Ali.
I knew something was coming.
Leave the World Behind. Rated R. Now playing only on Netflix.
Don't look now, but you only have 11 days until Christmas. And while you could just shop online for presents, are you really willing to risk it not arriving on time? That's why I'm bringing on Houston Chronicle reporter Brittanie Shey to get her picks for the best local places to buy last-minute presents. It's Thursday, December 14th, 2023. I'm Raheel Ramzanali, and here's what Houston's talking about. Brittanie, welcome into CityCast Houston. I'm so excited to chat with you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Look, I'm like most people where I haven't even started the holiday shopping stuff, right? And I know we could just do it online, but that's not fun. We want to support local. But before we get into that conversation, I want to know what is on your wish list from someplace local?
Oh, that's so funny that you ask, because I was going to talk about one of the places that I like to spend a lot of money, which is the fountain pen shop. So there's this store in Rice Village that is like a fountain pen and stationery store. It's called Dromgool's, and it's been owned by the same family since, I believe, 1960. And my husband, who is also a last minute shopper, was asking what I wanted for Christmas. And I showed him a very fancy fountain pen, very splurgy fountain pen that I've been wanting. So,
Ooh, that's awesome. Now, do you constantly write on paper, or is that just like every once in a while you'll just fire it up?
No, I am a tactile person. I always write pen on paper, and I really like fountain pens because they're sustainable. They can be refilled. You don't have to throw it away when it's done. And also they're just fancy, like a fancy thing.
Yeah, it looks cool. That's awesome. I've been wanting this Michelangelo Ninja Turtle toy that I had when I was in the 4th grade. And I'm going to talk about one of the places that has it. And that's like on my list. I know it's not like super local. It's not Houston-y, but I've been wanting this action figure from my childhood so badly. And I've been telling my wife, like dropping little hints like, oh, remember I used to have that? That would be cool to have again just around the house so our kids can play with it as well. But
I love that, because like if Christmas isn't about nostalgia, like what is it about? You know what I mean? Like I love that.
exactly. Now, before we get into our categories, I want to highlight a few places that we've shopped at locally that, we just want to give them some love. Let's start with you. Give me a couple of places that you enjoyed shopping at this year.
Oh my goodness. My go-tos are usually, and this isn't just for Christmas, this is like anytime I need a gift. I love to go to Cool and Scum, which is this massive, like locally owned department store that actually is spread out over several like buildings in the Montrose. I like to go there because they have a lot of Texas-centric stuff. They have a lot of different things for all different kinds of people, from cookbooks to like Yeti coolers to jewelry to little kitschy Texas, back to the nostalgia thing, like little Texas pillows and things like that. I also love Whole Earth Provisions, which is similar to like REI, but it's a Texas-owned company that sells like backpacking gear, camping gear, but they also have a lot of really cool Texas-centric stuff, like also Texas-centric cookbooks and Texas brands and things like that. So that place is fun.
That's awesome. I have two places that I found that I just absolutely love. One I found really recently, and that's Cargo Vintage in the Houston Farmers Market. And like, we haven't been to the farmers market in a while. So we went there and I saw this little area. I'm like, wait, hold on. This is different. And I walked in and there's so many vintage stores around Houston, right? Like shirts, pants, cargo pants, all that good stuff. But Cargo Vintage was really affordable. And that's like one of the things I want to hit on here is, just because it's local doesn't mean it's expensive. There are a lot of places that have fair pricing and you can find some great deals. And Cargo Vintage was one of them. And I'm into sneakers. I have a lot of friends and family that love sneakers as well. And there's a lot of resale shops out there. And of course, you can buy online on StockX or GOAT. But there's this place in the Alameda area called Space City Collective. And that is the best pricing I've ever received, whether you're buying or if you're selling your shoes back. So I love them. I just want to give them some love and just highlight that it can be affordable, by the way.
Yeah, I also love that too, because, there's a lot of people can get like mired in the consumerism of Christmas, but like of the two places you've mentioned so far, both of these are resale shops. And I think like if you're trying to shop, sustainably and consciously, not only are you shopping local, but you're also reusing, reducing, recycling. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. That's a great point right there. All right, so now let's rip through some of these categories because I know we have listeners ranging from all sorts of demographics and they're like, hold on, I need to buy a gift for my wife or my spouse or my husband or whatever, right? So we're going to rip through some of these categories and we'll start with the biggest one because I need help with this. All right, Brittany, best local spots to buy a gift for her. What are you recommending?
So I got really into perfume during the pandemic, and I love the idea of a perfume sampler. So if somebody doesn't necessarily know what they're into in terms of perfume, or you don't want to buy like something from, I don't know, like Victoria's Secret body spray or whatever, there's a place where you can get all kinds of different perfume. I think that's really cool. It's a really personal gift because it says a lot about like a person's taste and the scents that a person is drawn to and attracted to. And it's also like a gift of discovery, right? So it's something that somebody can like learn through and decide what they like and not like. Jewelry is always a popular gift. There are a number of local Houston jewelers that I think are really cool. There's a woman named Erica Delgado, and she has a shop on 19th Street in the Heights, and she makes all of her jewelry there. And not only does she make her own jewelry, but she also does jewelry repair. So this crazy story, I had this beautiful ring that got run over in Amsterdam and completely squashed. I know it's
Oh my God.
It's actually like a longer story. It was run over by a scooter in the bike lane. It's a long story, but I kept this ring. It was completely smashed. When I moved back to Houston, I took it back to her, and it's a ring that she had made, and she was able to completely repair it. And so that's another benefit of shopping locally is that you become engaged with like business owners in your community and you can build relationships with them. And I would go back to her for any kind of jewelry because that customer service aspect was so awesome.
That is so cool. And yeah, the perfume store that you're talking about, not only is it a personal gift, but it's like super personal to me because my dad owns that store and it's called Perfume. Yeah. So it's called Perfume Time in Houston and it's on Harwin and he's been there for over 30 years. And I grew up working there during the Christmas season, right? The holiday season. I would be there almost every day when I was off of school, even in college. And even now, some days he's like, hey, I need help because they are just overwhelmed and I will roll up there and help him out. But I highly recommend going there. There's so many places. I'm just going to recommend my dad because I know, what kind of man he is. And their recommendations are great. You go in there and you say, look, my wife likes this. You can even say she likes, this musician and they'll find you something. It's so crazy how they've got it down to a science of what people like. So I'm recommending them as one of my places for gifts for her. And this next one, Brittany, is, look, my wife loves coffee, okay? And a lot of people love coffee. So if you have a person that loves coffee, buy them local beans from a local coffee shop. The one I recommend is Blendin in Sugarland, and they also have another location in the city of Houston as well. And they make the best beans. They source them from all over the world. They can be a little expensive, but it's worth literally every bean. I love it.
Blended is so cool too because the people that founded it, they're like astrochemists or something like that.
Yeah.
But they are actual legitimate scientists who had careers in the scientific community in Houston and left those careers to get into coffee. I know coffee people can get real nerdy about their coffee and like how can you get any nerdier than like an astrophysicist or an astrochemist?
Yeah, an actual nerd.
Yeah. But also I just think that's so cool too because like when you're talking about cooking, you're talking about coffee, there's so many different like scientific levels that are involved. I just drink HEB coffee and I'm not much of a coffee drinker, but if you do have a coffee lover in your life, like that is a hardcore nerd out way to get involved in coffee.
Yeah, and it's something they appreciate for a couple of weeks up to a month, right? Depending how often. So they'll remember you every time they brew a cup. And that's what you want. Like, hey, see, you see how lucky you are? I got you this awesome coffee. Now let's go to him. Okay, this is a little bit harder. Shopping for guys is hard. Okay, I don't know why we just never give you a straight answer, right? Like when my wife asked me, "What do you want?" I'm like, I don't know. So it's a little bit harder. So what recommendations do you have for him?
Yeah, so my husband asked for pants. for Christmas.
That's the most husband thing ever.
Yeah, I know. But he likes a very specific brand of pants that are sold at Whole Earth. So one thing we haven't really talked about, which is experiences, which can also be a great gift because coffee beans run out, you consume them, they run out, but like experiences last forever and memories last forever. So one thing that my husband has really gotten into over the last couple of years is cooking. And he mentioned wanting to take like a barbecue class or a grilling class. And I know that there are a couple of places in Houston, locally owned places that do cooking classes. So one example is Central Market on Westheimer in Highland Village. They do cooking classes all the time. They do knife skills classes, which I think is really cool. So that would be something that I would recommend for like a man of the house, husband, boyfriend, whatever.
I love that. Those experiences are so much more valuable. Look, okay, but a good pair of pants will last a long time, right? Which is cool.
The other thing I love about the cooking class as a gift is that I also benefit from that that gift. Right?
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
You get great meals all the time, and you've got somebody who's excited about cooking. So that's the fun part right there. Cards, I'm just gonna give you my vision here. I love getting gift cards to restaurants that are really hyped up because I'm cheap by nature. I'm not going to go there myself. But if somebody gives me a gift card, I'm like, all right, let's do it. I've got a gift card to this really expensive place. So I love getting gift cards to any of these hype places. And there's so many. We have so many different episodes on the best places to eat that you can find as well. I just think men love getting gift cards or something that they wouldn't normally buy, right? So that's a good one right there.
Yeah. Like men don't normally like treat themselves, I feel like, and not to get all gender essentialist or whatever. But the other thing I love about restaurant gift cards is that's a great way to support the local restaurant industry after a couple of like really tough years. Even if you buy that gift card and you don't use it all or, you don't spend it immediately, the restaurant still gets that money. So it's a great way to support restaurants that have struggled since COVID and all the things that have happened over the last couple of years, the freeze and everything else.
That's a really good point. Okay, now let's go to kids. This is the hardest one for me because I know listeners are like, wait, I have a kid who's 2 or I have a kid who's 15, right? So this is hard, but I'm going to start this one off and you kind of hit on this already, but experiences. Stop buying gifts for kids that are tangible. Let's do experiences instead. As a father of 2, every toy that you buy, they're going to play with, for maybe a week, 2 weeks, and it goes in the junk pile. Then it gets donated about 2 months later. So you really miss out on it and you just forget about that toy. But if you do an experience, whether it be taking them out to a restaurant or maybe taking them out to a fun experience like the Houston Interactive Aquarium and Animal Preserve, or it could be something more practical, like if they love sports, my daughter loves volleyball, I'm going to get her a package of individual training sessions with her coach. So she'll remember that forever and it benefits her as well. So I think experiences are big for kids.
Yeah, one thing that's been really big in Houston and just all across the country right now is like the growth of pickleball. And I've never played it, but one of the things that pickleball enthusiasts talk about is how it's a sport for anyone, whether you're old, you're young, whatever. And I think, a couple of pickleball classes or something like that, or even like they do climbing classes at some of the climbing gyms around town that are specifically targeted towards little kids. And that's something that I think is like a great way to build self-confidence and maybe expose a kid to a new hobby or whatever, expose them to other kids who they might not, know from school or meet from school. Another place, when we're talking about experiences, another place that just opened this past weekend. So Houston loves their like immersive experiences. So places like the Color Factory and pop-up places that are made for like Instagram photos, basically. But this new place just opened in the Marquee Entertainment Center, and it's called Slumu. And it's a slime museum. And when I tell you, so my husband and I went to the media event, which was 21 and up. I've never seen so many adults have so much fun with slime. And so basically it's a tactile museum. You go, you put your hands in the slime, you play with the slime, you can slingshot it at people. But one of the things that's really cool about it is at the end of the visit, everybody who has a ticket gets the opportunity to make their own slime, to custom make your own slime. So that's something where you can actually also come away with like a souvenir from the experience. But It's a little pricey. I think the tickets are like $39 a person, including kids. But talk about memories, man. That place, I had a great time, and I'm a grown adult. I think kids would love that.
That is such a good one. One more thing I want to throw in there, and you can find this on Google, just search your local area, but I highly recommend for kids to sign them up for musical lessons or singing lessons or something that will just get them comfortable performing, right? There's so many places. I can't list them all, but just search your area. Kids love those. They'll always say like, "Oh, I don't want to go," but once they're there, they enjoy them so much. So I want to throw that last experience as well. Okay, we're ripping through these. I think we have some good recommendations so far, but I need a stocking stuffer. All right. This is the hardest one because I always just go to Target and just find something in like that little $5 aisle. And that's not cool. That's not creative. It's not as local as I want it to be, right? You're still supporting local economy there, but you're not supporting a local business. Give me a good place to go buy some stocking stuffers.
So one place I love for stocking stuffers is Cactus Music. And, they're a great business that's been around for a long time, and they do great in-store shows and are supported and sponsored by, for example, St. Arnold and a whole bunch of other local businesses as well. But they have like great knickknacks. I mean, everything from like cute, quirky socks to Funko Pop statues or figurines to acrylic pins of like your favorite musician or whatever. One year I was doing like a Secret Santa. So I decided to make little ranch water kits to give away as gifts. And so I had a friend who was making glasses out of Topo Chico bottles, like little rocks glasses out of Topo Chico bottles. So I bought a couple of those, and I bought a couple of little airplane bottles of vodka. And then I went to Cactus Music, and they had Topo Chico pins, like little lapel pins. And I thought that was so cute to package with something, this gift. So that's a great place to find little knickknacks, little quirky gifts. Even a Cactus gift certificate would be amazing. They resell CDs and vinyl albums, and they're just a business that I love that has given a lot back to the Houston community, and just a fun place to shop too. And they're great with recommendations too. They're very good with customer service. So.
Yeah, Ash and the whole crew there,
Yeah.
they're so awesome. Like, I just love talking to them. And I've brought them up so many times on the podcast where I just go hang out. Like, that's one of our traditions. The week before Christmas, we'll just go hang out there because it's fun to listen to the music that they're playing, just kind of hearing people talk about stuff. You're chatting with people. I usually bring in some vinyls that I want to sell and from my collection and add new stuff. It's just a great place to be. And look, you can just walk to Trill Burgers after. So there you go. Boom, easy. You don't have to look for parking. You just walk right over, which is awesome. Good.
Don't have to deal with the parking. You might still have to deal with the line, but you don't have to deal with the parking.
Yeah. So I hit on this one to start, but for me, Super Happy Incredible Toys is the place to go for vintage toys. And I think that's where I'm going to go get my Michelangelo figurine because they're the only ones that have it, right? It's so hard to find these vintage toys. But with vintage toys, a lot of places just mark it up and it's like impossible to buy them. You feel bad spending $200 on a toy that was originally $5, right? But Juan and his whole team are so awesome, and they've been an institution for the longest time. This business is great. You're supporting super local here, and they got a great collection. So I want to give some love to Super Happy Incredible Toys. And also on our website, houston.citycast.fm, if you just search Super Happy Incredible Toys, you'll see a feature that we did with them as well. So that's pretty cool. So shout out to them. Okay, Brittanie, finally, I'm a little lazy. All right. I just want to go to one place that I can knock out all of my gifts. I don't want to go to all these places, which is great. You're supporting local, but I want to go to one place. Give me a place where I can get all my shopping done.
So I already mentioned Cool Linscomb, and if you haven't been, it's a great place to just go and like wander around for an hour. So it's right next to the Whole Foods that's in Montrose River Oaks. It's on like Kirby in Alabama. And it's not just a store. It's a complex of several different buildings, some old houses. I mean, what don't they have? They have a baby section. They have a stationery section. They have a jewelry shop. They have an outdoor section. You can buy high dollar furniture or expensive china, or you can buy locally made jewelry. One thing I really like about that place is they have an apothecary. So we talked about perfume a little bit. They've got a great perfume selection, but in this apothecary, they carry stuff from like all over the world and a lot of brands that I personally haven't seen in Houston before. They also carry like some really cool housewares like Japanese incense and candles. Diptyque Candles is a really popular candle brand. But it really is just like a one-stop shop. You can get things for kids, you can get things for adults. And it's just like a fun, unique Houston place, like just a really cool place to just, you were talking about hanging out at Cactus. It's also just a really cute place to like wander around and look and chat with people. And the people who work there are also super, super friendly and nice. And so if you're ever lost and you don't know what to buy, they can tell you what's popular. They can maybe make recommendations for the men who you have to buy gifts for. But yeah, I think they have a great selection. It's not necessarily all locally made items, but it is a locally owned business. And the other thing that I think is cool is one of the things that they are doing is they're buying up some of these older properties on that block and preserving them so that the houses, these old like brownstones don't get torn down and turned into condos or whatever. So they're great stewards of the community. And it's almost like a museum gift shop, but with everything and like all price ranges. And I just think that's a great place to go spend an hour.
That is so awesome. That is the perfect way to end this conversation. That is going to be my place to go this year as well and just check it out because I haven't been. So I love that recommendation. And also for everyone listening, I've included your full recommendation list from the Chronicle in our show notes so you can check it out as well. Brittanie, thank you so much. That was a lot of fun. And I think we're prepared now to get our last minute local gifts.
Now you just got to find time to go shopping.
Yep. Thanks, Brittanie.
Thank you.
Thank you to Brittanie Shey for joining us. I know we left a lot of places out, but if you have recommendations for us to find that perfect last-minute local gift, send it to us on Instagram at CityCastHouston or with the info in our show notes. That will do it for today. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something new. Brittanie, welcome into CityCast Houston. See, I messed up. There you go.